What's up everybody, welcome back to Meathead Gaming. My name is Roland, this is the best channel that nobody watches except a few special people like yourselves, and today I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm gonna be talking about a mod that recently came out. So I got access like 3 days before it got launched, and then I went on a holiday and I didn't have time to do it when I would like to, but I will do this overview video just to show my appreciation that I got some early access to this mod. FIREFORGED Empire is an extremely ambitious project led by a mostly Russian modding team for Total War Attila. It is built on the bones of Judas Rex, which is an older mod from 2016, and although initially FIREFORGED Empire was only available to patrons, the developers released it to the masses on the 23rd of December this year. Just as a little side note, the name Judas Rex comes from the Roman term appointed to the highest ranking individual in the Gothic society. What I will try to achieve in this video is to give a good overview that will help you to get the necessary information in order for you to decide if you want to give this mod a shot, which I do believe that you should. And what are some of the more important things to keep in mind before you set off in your world-conquering adventures in a time period which is extremely unforgiving and ruthless to Western society. Now, from what I can see, all the evidence points to the fact that the developers worked very hard in reproducing the historical accuracies of this time period, basing their knowledge on archaeological evidences, but also the few remaining written sources from that time period, such as Notitia or Notitia Dignitatum, which in English means list of offices. And it is, and I quote, a document of the late Roman Empire that details the administrative organization of the Western and the Eastern Roman Empire. It is unique as one of the very few surviving documents of Roman government and describes several thousand offices from the imperial court to provincial governments, diplomatic missions, and army units. Using all this vital information, the developers aimed at reproducing the late 4th century as best as they could. They implemented their knowledge in all the vital parts of the game basically, such as brand new units, gameplay, and combat mechanics. But also new playable factions such as Antis, Venedi, Armenia is also available, and a very interesting faction, the British-Gallic Roman Empire. And none of these factions require a DLC for you to be able to play them, which is awesome. And another 15 new non-playable factions such as the AORUS, Apsilae, Blemie, Scarpi, Eluri, Varini, Sciri, and many more. One of them is also the Saraceni, which is also playable. But for that one, I believe that you need to have the Desert Kingdoms pack, or whatever it's called, Desert something, I think it's Desert Kingdoms, DLC for Attila. We also have brand new historically accurate descriptions, icons, leaders, and the models of the factions, as well as the political parties. So let's have a quick look at these models. And they also have new descriptions, of course, which can be useful in case you are not familiar with some of the factions and some of their backstory. So for the Roman Empire, as I said, we have or as you will find out, this is post-production added. I want to show you these models because some of them are really cool. We have the British-Gallic Roman Empire. We have the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire, which they are similar. Yeah, they actually are similar, but the colors are different, of course. I love the purple. Love the purple of the Eastern Roman. The Westerners also have some purple, but purple with gray. It reminds me of Carthage. Let's move on. We have the Franks, Saxons, Langobards. Man, I've never played actually as one of these factions. These brave warriors. Burgundians. The Eastern Germano-Sarmatians, Alans, Ostrogoths. Wow. This guy looks badass. My god, the size of that shield. Who are you? You're a Vandal. Well, you're gonna travel far away. And then we have the Visigoths. I don't envy any of these factions. The Armenian, like Armenia in general, this is a new faction that you can play as. I think they look great, and in general it's a very attractive campaign for me, but I will do it later on when I will have more experience with the game, because you're just getting sandwiched by everybody under the sun here. The Sassanids, the Eastern Roman Empire, and then you have theoretically the Huns are also a problem for you, so it is very challenging. We have the Sassanids, which again, they look awesome. I fancy campaign with them. I'd like to play some more, but it's hard. North Germans, Jutes, which is, oh, interesting. They're in modern day Denmark and also part of Sweden. I think this part is of Sweden. Modern day. You have the Getai, which they're not our usual Getai. The Geats, these are the Swedish, I mean the Nordic faction, which eventually, they're mostly ancestors of the Swedes. We have the Desert Kingdoms. You can play as the Saracens, as I said, if you want to, and you have to have the DLC. Then we have the usual suspects here. Oh, this is good. It's pretty cool. We have the Himyar with their renowned face masks, and then we have the Huns. There's multiple Hunnic factions, as I said, in the campaign. There's only one playable faction. Okay, so let's jump back into the video. I wanted to show you this just so you get an idea of what to expect. Now, the starting year of this mod is 367 AD, because that's when the Huns started having their incursions into Eastern Europe, which subsequently led to the Great Migrations and the eventual collapse of the Western Roman Empire. There's also a great number of scripts and events waiting for you to unveil. One of the more interesting ones, in my humble opinion, is the restoration of the Western Roman Empire with the rebel Magnus Maximus. One of the 3 Roman factions that are playable is the British-Gallic Roman Empire, which I already started playing on my channel. This faction was started by a very capable and brave Roman figure in the army called, as I said before, Magnus Maximus, who historically speaking has quite a fascinating trajectory with a lot of events, and I'm not gonna go into the details here because most of you watching this will probably know the details of it, but if you don't know, then there's much better sources for you to find out and better structured videos for you than me trying to do a very mediocre attempt in doing so. Now, before I dive deeper into some of the gameplay and combat improvements brought to the table by this very dedicated team, I have to tell you 2 major things in order to properly start your future campaigns. 1. Be wise when you choose your unit size. The unit size of your army is increased in FIREFORGED Empire. So, normal unit size in this mod is the equivalent of the ultra unit size in vanilla. So before you go to the Discord and cry about the poor performance of the mod on your 10-year-old toaster, keep that in mind, please, and don't just jump into the game expecting to have the maximum number of soldiers on the screen while you will also experience a buttery gameplay. Unless you obviously have a very strong computer, you shouldn't expect that. A good way to test the unit size that would be good for you and for your setup for your PC is to just jump into a 2v2 custom battle and see how the game performs for you, and you can fine-tune it from there, and then that will save you a lot of trouble down the line, because once you start a campaign, obviously you cannot change the unit size of your campaign. Also, I would advise you again to be wise when you choose your difficulty. Normal difficulty here is not normal difficulty in Attila. There's no shame in playing on easy difficulty or medium difficulty, just enough so you can familiarize yourself with the mechanics, with the gameplay changes, with the many different mechanics that were implemented into this mod by the modders. And after that, you can always go on and play on harder difficulty, so on and so forth. It is not advised for you to play on legendary difficulty. There is a bug in Attila which might cause the game to crash, so your save file might not be safe if you play on legendary. Gameplay wise, there is an abundant number of tweaks, new features and diplomacy options that you will have at your disposal. There are over 900 new units in the game, of which 40 new cavalry units, but also new siege units such as ballistas and great ballistas, which have new types of shots that can be used to bring the pain on those pesky Huns. Cavalry charges are now deadlier than ever due to the fact that the cavalry played a massive role in late antiquity on the battlefield, and seeing as the moderators put a great deal and focus on historical accuracy, the cavalry strength was boosted, while the average battle is longer in FIREFORGED Empire than it is in vanilla Attila, baby. Now, that should not discourage you if you enjoy using infantry more in your armies than you do so with cavalry, because to counter the strength of the cavalry, you will have new toys at your disposal. One of the most notable gameplay changes on the battlefield is the fact that now most of the troops have spears at their disposal. Historically, this is quite accurate, as the cost of having a spear was relatively low, but the impact it had on the battlefield could turn the tide of the battle. Hence, in FIREFORGED Empire, most of the skirmisher units have spears and the ability to use a spear wall formation. That being said, don't expect this to be a quick get out of the jail free card, as it can be helpful, yes, but a skilled cavalry general will always find a way around that. Also, approximately 95% of the melee infantry troops now also have javelins at their disposals, which can make the rear charges even more devastating, as they will throw those javelins before they charge into the enemy's back if they are not using any type of formations, with the exception of square formation. So as you can see, the formations of the military units has a more important role than before. With these changes to the gameplay, the meta is much deeper than it is in vanilla, and although this might prove a bit challenging for beginners, veterans will have a lot of fun implementing all the tweaks into their strategies. And seeing as Attila is quite a fast-paced game compared, for example, to Rome 2 Total War, this will reward skilled players even more. If you are a beginner, don't get discouraged. We all have to start somewhere. I just recently started playing Attila, for example, and the joy of discovering a new Total War game brought me a lot of satisfaction, even if I end up looking like a fool in some of my videos. Also, some of the historical figures are immortal up to the year of their death in real life. So feel free to abuse them as much as you can, but keep in mind, once their death in real life happened, they will lose their immortality and can die in case you lose them on the battlefield. This does not mean that once they died in real life, they will die in your game also. They will still be alive, but they won't be immortal anymore. Another great addition to the gameplay is the fact that not all hordes should scare the living shit out of you. As long as you have a decent relationship with them, you can even recruit soldiers from their ranks. So when they are on your territory, next to the recruit troops and recruit mercenaries tab, a third tab will appear and you will be able to recruit troops for a pretty good price from the hordes. This ability absolutely blew my mind, and it makes so much sense if you think about it. It's easily one of my favorite features. Also, as long as you are not at war with a faction, or the faction itself is not a horde, you can even give away regions for money or for troops. This opens up a few good tactical decisions you can make if you find yourself in a tough spot. I mean, why not give away a region that constantly gives you problems for a few good troops or money that you can use in a more productive way somewhere else, right? All 4 Roman factions have access to unique troops depending on their area of recruitment, which makes each campaign more fun and historically accurate. And before you go into overdrive and ask yourself, which is the 4th Roman faction? Well, this is the non-playable Roman rebels. And because the Western factions can be quite intimidating to play as due to the chaos brought by the Huns, the modders came up with quite a brilliant solution to help you out in case you feel adventurous and want to try a Western Roman Empire campaign. That is, the barricades, traps, and other means of restraint in a defensive siege battle have been boosted. The number of elements in the traps or devices have been doubled in some cases, as well as the strength of the barricades has been increased. This means you will have quite a lot more pikes in the ground for that nasty Hunnic charge. It takes siege battles to a different level, and it makes them more interesting, and it should even the odds against the never-ending flow of horse riders from the far east. Another change that is quite cool, but it can get annoying when you try to figure out things, is that all the faction units are now made historically accurate naming wise. So this means that the Gothic and Germanic troops are named in Old German, the Sassanid in Persian, the Hellenic troops, for example, in Old Ossetian or Ossetian, I don't know exactly how you pronounce that, etc, etc. The reason why I don't agree with these changes in most of the mods, because a lot of the mods do it, is that it can make things confusing for a peanut brain like myself, but on the other hand, I will have the ability to learn something new. And last but not least, to put the nail in the coffin, the FIREFORGED modding team also worked on optimizing the game itself to work a bit better, while they also fixed a lot of the vanilla bugs that were still lying around, not attended by CA, because CA nowadays is just a pile of shit. So, as you can see, a lot of work has been put into this mod, and the fact that we can play a mod like this or other great ones such as Divided Impera, Parabellum, 1100 AD, Tsardoms, Europa Barbarorum or Imperium Surrectum for free is a privilege that we should fully appreciate. Try not to be entitled when you join their Discord and ask questions, and keep in mind, all of this is for free and nobody is forcing you to play it, guys. I don't usually make videos such as this, but because the FIREFORGED team was kind enough to give me a bit of an early access to their mod, I decided to make this video, which hopefully will help them get more people play the game, the mod, but also help players, you watching this, with vital information about the things that you might have to keep in mind if you want to play this beautiful hard worked on mod. A special shout out goes to Magneto, which is the person that I kept in touch with regarding the mod. He gave me early access to the mod, and also he was kind enough to take the time and answer all the stupid questions that I was putting up on his plate. He took it like a champ, and for that I appreciate your time, Magneto. Guys, thank you very much for watching. That's gonna be it for today. I don't even know if you want to see more videos like this where I go over mods, so on and so forth. Let me know in the comment below. I personally prefer to play the games, comment on them, and like post the episodes. But if there's a crowd for this on my channel, I can do that. Granted, it'll take a little bit of longer time because life is very busy as always, but we will find a way, baby. We will find a way. Guys, I wish everybody a happy new year. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again next time. Until then, stay safe, stay clean, and always stay strong.